So my name's Bill Priddy. I chair the Flow Measurement Special Interest Group. The evolution of this group has largely been orchestrated by a partnership between TUV SUD NEL, or the UK National Engineering Laboratory, and Coventry University. It actually started about 7 years ago through that partnership, reaching out through a large, sort of wide industrialization around what's needed in the application of flow measurement going forward, particularly in oil and gas. And one of the things to emerge was a feeling that there should be a group providing a voice for the flow measurement discipline. So a sort of virtual organisation called the Flow Measurement Institute came into being, which I have chaired and have chaired since. And early on in that process, we recognised the need to, as a sort of voluntary group of people with very little resource, the need to find suitable partners to move the agenda forward. And again, through reaching out to various of the engineering institutes and scientific institutes, through various dialogues, we eventually have merged into the Institute of Measurement and Control, just as the Institute was in the process of setting up these special interest groups. So it seemed like a natural fit. So we're interested in all aspects of flow measurements of liquids and gases, included related measurements such as around fluid quality, for example, density or calorific value, and covering all sectors and industries really. So it might be oil and gas, medical applications, space, process industries, agriculture, nuclear, water, you name it, and covering single and multi-phase fluids. And it can be about flow quantity and quality measurement, for example, measuring mass, total mass quantity or flow rate, volume or energy, but also measurements around measuring fluid velocity, for example, or other parameters such as turbulence parameters within processes and machinery, around services, aerofoils, hydrofoils, or flows in the atmosphere and the ocean, any kind of flow you can think of. And the intent, and we derived this, or sort of came up, first sort of meeting of the original Flow Measurement Institute really was to try and write down in a sentence or two, what's the intent, what are we about? And really it was to drive a unified, cohesive approach to the future of flow measurement science and infrastructure to meet the emergent needs and challenges of industry. And we've had particular emphasis on advising government, research funding bodies and relevant international bodies in the realm of flow measurement needs. Next slide, please, Ernest. Thank you. So our membership, we currently have about 150 InstMC members within our community. We have a person who acts as secretariat, Dr. Katrina Davidson of the National Engineering Laboratory. Katrina picks up most of the actions of the group, coordinates our activity, and is the focal person if you want to find out about the group, or you've got a question, or you want to offer some information or advice or criticism or whatever it might be. So Katrina acts as our focus person and coordinates all our activity. The leadership group, we meet on a quarterly basis and decide the direction and the activity plan for the group. Is a mix of academic, industry, and sort of National Measurement Institute for Flow or laboratory persons. And I would say that some of the academics there also have strong industrial links, and some of the people listed under industry there have had or are currently engaged in significant academic work. So we try and get a good mix across industry and academia. There's an empty box at the bottom at the bottom of the table. At the moment, we're still trying to reach out to additional members, both in academia and industry, to extend our reach. So the leadership group is sort of work in progress. Next slide, please, Ernest. So these list A to F of Institute's principal goals are taken off the InstMC front page website, the things that it does. And we, within the Flow Measurement SIG, endeavour to cover all of those activities, but the ones highlighted in bold, currently where we feel we can be most proactive, given the voluntary nature, particularly of our leadership group, and limited access to resources. Those are activities where we feel we can have most impact, but also manage and control what we're doing. But we will probably on a more reactive basis for the most part, at least for the foreseeable future, support all the other typical institution activities, especially around supporting members with their careers, promoting competence and so on. And as the former Flow Measurement Institute, we did run 3 or 4 successful conferences for our members, and we'll expect to do that in the future, especially as coronavirus restrictions ease off, hopefully. So all the things you'd expect of an institutional group, really. Certainly, we've done a lot on trying to inform government policy. There's a feeling in the leadership group at the moment that we need to do more around bridging making the bridge between academic research and industrial practice, so that there may be some more emphasis on that from the leadership group as we go forward. And just at the bottom there are some examples of things that we've done of our activities. So sort of on informing government policy, instigating foresight reviews. There have been a few of those, and the documents are available on the InstMC website under our specific SIG webpage recently. And there was an article about this in the June edition of Precision. We instigated and published a report on the requirements for flow measurement for low carbon fuels, and that meaning hydrogen specifically. And that was all about identifying, as we suspected, a gap in physical flow standards for hydrogen and traceability chain. And that document was taken by the president of the Institute, who wrote letters to senior government ministers, making them aware of the issue and the gaps, and offering any advice that may be required. It also formed part of a submission by the Royal Academy of Engineering to an all-party parliamentary group on net zero. Right now, we've got another foresight review document being written in preparation on measuring carbon dioxide, which we also suspect there will be gaps in capability. We conducted a survey. One of my feelings has been that the leadership group has beavered away through the previous form of the Flow Measurement Institute and now as the formalised special interest group, feeling a little bit isolated from our broader membership. It's not been helped by the COVID situation, but we are hoping to redress that with our activity plans going forward. But just to give one example, last year we conducted a survey, and there was a good several tens, I would say, if not over 100 of our members responded, and about 70% of them expressed a desire for something called an open innovation platform for flow measurement. So we went away. Katrina did a very thorough review, because our first question was, well, does such a thing already exist for flow measurement somewhere in the world? Well, Katrina went away, conducted a pretty thorough study, and not really, there's nothing really out there. So we're now going to go forward with a pilot to test real genuine interest among our members for this. and potentially building it into the new, as a tool within the new Institute of Measurement Control website service. So watch out for that one. And there was an article on that to give you more information in this month's email shot from the Institute. One other example of something we've done, through a memorandum of understanding, we partnered with the Energy Institute in the last 2 or 3 years. We've done put a lot of effort, both as the former Flow Measurement Institute and then now as the SIG, into the question of a training qualification for flow measurement engineers. The Energy Institute were doing something in parallel, and we identified that and partnered with them. They've been the main driver for that. What we did was really steer them and push them towards the National Apprenticeship Scheme as really the vehicle, at least in England and Wales, to try and bring something about. That's at a stage now where there's not much more we feel we can do. We've left the door open to them if they need further help. They were stating that they are pursuing it, they are following up. They're going to attempt to sort of bolt that on to an existing broader metrology module within the apprenticeship scheme. And I think they're aiming for a degree level qualification, which I think would be something like NVQ level 6. But one of the questions the last time I looked at it, and our leadership group looked at it, was the unanswered question, well, who actually in industry is calling for this? Because one of the things you're going to get resources to build an apprenticeship scheme training qualification is industry support, and a number of companies need to be in support of it. So as things stood, to me, that question wasn't answered, and so it's a question of watch this space with the Energy Institute. So that's just 3 examples. The leadership group will be revisiting the activity plan, and I trust there'll be more that involves the membership going forward. Thanks very much.